Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Laura and I'm a type 1 diabetic. Tonight I am going to be showing you how to change the pump site for the Tandem T-Slim X2 insulin pump. I've been on this pump for about 2 years now, and it's pretty easy, but it's a little bit more involved than the Omnipod pump changes were. So I thought I would just walk you through the steps. It is time for me to change out my site anyway, so I'm just going to take you along with me as I do that. I've got some different items here that are going to come in handy for us. You can see I've got the infusion set itself. This is the Autosoft XC with 23-inch tubing. And then I like to order it in pink because I'm a pink girl. This is my vial of Humalog. That's what I'm going to need to fill up the cartridge. This is the cartridge itself. This slides into the back of the insulin pump after you've filled it up with insulin, and each cartridge comes with its own syringe. So we've got all these items here. I'm going to finish unwrapping the insertion device. It has some packaging on it, so you just have to take off the plastic. I already took these guys out of their packages. Everything comes all wrapped up so that it's nice and sterile. You peel off the back of the infusion set here. That exposes the plastic part that you'll cock back when it's time to insert it. But we're just going to set this one aside for now. I am going to take my syringe and fill up my cartridge now. So I like to put about 200 units at a time in. So I'm going to draw the syringe back to the 200 unit mark, and I'm going to push that air into my insulin vial so that it creates a little bit of pressure. And now I'm going to draw that insulin back into the syringe. Nice and gentle. And then once I get some insulin in here, I like to overdraw it, and then that gives me room that I can tap the syringe, get those bubbles to the top, and push the bubbles back into the vial. Okay, now the T-Slim is a little bit more complicated than the Omnipod because the cartridge is a little harder to fill. So part of this process that we have to do is we have to draw the air bubbles out of the cartridge. We're going to put the syringe, there's a little rubber gasket here in the top of the cartridge. And so we're going to put the syringe into that little rubber piece, and we are going to draw air up out of the cartridge. And you can see that we've got some air bubbles in the syringe now. So I'm going to tap those up, and I'm going to put this back in my vial. And I'm going to push those air bubbles in, and then I'm going to draw this back to the 200 unit mark again. So now we've got 200 units in the syringe with no air bubbles. And now the air is out of the cartridge, so I can go ahead and put the insulin that's in my syringe into the cartridge. I guess Tandem figured out, once they released this whole system, that air sometimes gets trapped in these cartridges, so they've made it best practice to just go ahead and pull that air out so that it doesn't get stuck in your tubing or whatever when you're actually using this cartridge. So I put it all in here. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to set this aside for just a second. Okay, so the next step is I have taken this off of my body. I unclipped my tubing from the site that's currently on me, and I'm going to power up my pump. There's a little 1, 2, 3 that we have to push to get into it. My blood sugar is high, so it's warning me of that. My cartridge is very low right now. I'm down to 1 unit. So I'm going to go to options, and then I'm going to go to load. It's the second option here. And then I'm going to push this little check mark that says change cartridge. Okay, and then the next screen says, in order to change a cartridge, all insulin deliveries will be stopped. Continue. I'm going to say yes with the blue check mark here. Okay, deliveries have stopped. Make sure the infusion set is disconnected from your body. Mine is, so I'm going to say I am ready to continue. Yes. Okay, so now it's time to pop out the cartridge. So there's a tool for this. The T-Slim pump comes with a tool that is meant specifically for this purpose. So it looks like this. It's just a little piece of plastic. It kind of looks like a little plastic card. It's got a hole. You can put it on your key ring if you want to. But this fits into a slot on the back of the pump that's here in between the cartridge and the pump body itself. So you slide the key in there and you just pop it out. See? And this slides out. So I've got the old one out. Now I'm going to slide the new one in, push it until it clicks, and then I'll push this little unlock button and it's going to prepare the new cartridge. So is the new cartridge installed? Yes. And you'll see there's a progress bar. It's going to prepare the new cartridge that I just slid in there. We'll give that a minute. In the meantime, I can set my trash just off to the side. I've already got my new infusion set unwrapped, so now I can take the lid off of it. There's this plastic lid that pops off, and the tubing is wrapped up in here. So I'm going to unwind the tubing. There's a little clip, you can unclip it, and then just gently unwind the tubing from inside of this device. There's a little slot here that you can kind of slide it into and it holds it in place. I like to run my finger around this adhesive part here just to make sure that it's all seated in the insertion device properly. Okay, I'm going to set this down. Now, I am going to take the pump and the tubing and you're going to screw these two pieces together. This is called like a pigtail connector. So you screw these together, make sure that it's nice and secure and connected. Okay. And then on the screen here, it says, make sure that the set is disconnected from your body and securely connect the tubing to your cartridge. So I just did that. On the next screen, you will fill your tubing with insulin. So I'm going to hit OK. And then here is where I'm going to start filling my tubing. So I just hit the start button and you might hear it. It's making some little sounds. And it's going to start pushing insulin through the tubing. And so I'm just going to wait until I can see the insulin come out of the tip over here. The needle is sticking out there. So I watch the tip of the needle to see when insulin starts coming out of there. And that's when I know that the tubing is filled. And with this particular infusion set, it usually takes about 12 units to fill it up. We'll see exactly how many it takes tonight. It kind of varies depending on if you have any air bubbles in there or not. Okay, so we're right at about 12 units and I see insulin coming out. So I hit the stop button and now it is just going to recalibrate and make sure it knows how much insulin is left in the cartridge. Okay. It says if you see drops at the end of the tubing, press done. If no insulin drops are noticed, press fill to continue filling. So if you accidentally stop it too soon, you can continue the filling process here. But we saw drops, so I'm going to hit done. Okay, now the last step here is to fill the cannula. You don't want to do that until you've inserted the infusion set into your body. So I'm going to go ahead and insert it now, and I'll show you guys how I do that. Okay, so I already pressed this down. I'm going to do it again just to be extra safe. I'm going to peel off the little adhesive backing here. So now the adhesive patch is exposed and there's a little blue cover on the needle. So I'm going to pull that off and now the needle is exposed. I don't know how well you can really see that, but the needle is exposed there and the cannula is around the needle. I am going to hold the insertion device. There are little striped areas here. So I'm going to pinch those and hold on to it. And then I'm going to pull back on this plastic piece until I hear it click. So now it's stuck in place. You can see it's cocked back. And then when I insert it, I'm going to grab on these indented portions here and you squeeze that and that releases the piece that's cocked back and that's going to shoot it into your body. So don't squeeze that until you're ready. Okay. I'm going to find the spot on my stomach where I want it to go. I want it to be kind of right down here. I'm going to squeeze Okay, sometimes you have to squeeze really hard. Sometimes you don't have to squeeze that hard at all. All right, I'm gonna pull it straight out. And now you can see that the infusion set is left on my stomach. I just like to run my finger around it a little bit, make sure it's stuck down really well. Okay. Okay, that one stung a little bit, but it really wasn't too bad. I find that usually they don't hurt too bad with these insertion devices. You can see here the infusion set and the tubing is now gone. Only the needle remains. So I just like to put the cap back on here just to keep the needle protected. And I am done with the insertion. So now I'll take you through the final steps of the actual pump setup. That last check mark there, it says fill cannula. Now I'm gonna click that. And it says insert a new set, connect the filled tubing. On the next screen, you're gonna fill the cannula with insulin. So I'm gonna hit check. And here it's the fill amount for this infusion set is 0.3 units. So that's already in there. And I'm gonna hit start. Okay, and now it's done. So I'm gonna hit this blue check mark. And there will be one more screen here. This says resume insulin now. This will resume all deliveries. I'm gonna hit check and we are done. So now we're back to the normal screen. You can see my blood sugar here. I'm wearing the Dexcom G7 and it's returned to my Control IQ settings. So that's how you do it. It's really not too terribly complicated. It's a little bit more complex than the Omnipod. If you're coming from Omnipod, there are a couple of steps that you have to get used to that you didn't have to do with the Omnipod. But you get used to it pretty quickly. Once you've gone through this process a few times, it becomes second nature. And so I'm positive that if you want to try this pump out, you will be able to handle it. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, if there's anything that you like to do differently when you change your pump sites. I didn't show myself swabbing the area on my stomach, but it is good practice to use an alcohol wipe and make sure that you have cleansed whatever area you're going to put the site on. Yeah, but leave me comments, questions down below. I would appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to the channel if you find this content useful. And let me know what other questions you might have about pumping in general or using a Dexcom, any kind of diabetes technology. I'd be more than happy to talk about my experiences. Okay, that's all I've got for you tonight. You guys take care of yourselves and I will see you in the next one. Bye.